your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. It's great to have you with us today on the Morning Drive here on Double T 97.3. Jamie, man, I hate to do this to you 3 days in a row, but these things come in threes. And this was, he was not an athlete, but wrote a lot of sports books, great sports books, including A Season on the Brink. But John Feinstein died yesterday.
Yeah, great one. I mean, a terrific writer, and every sports fan knows, and probably
his name.
Sports fans have read one of his books that he wrote. So he's definitely not an athlete, but he's a great sports figure. No doubt.
Just 69 years old, and apparently at his brother's home. He had, the day before, had an article that appeared in the Washington Post about Tom Izzo, and that's it. But apparently, I guess his actual age was 68 because he was his birth date is in July. But anyway, the bottom line was apparently he had suffered from some poor health because of his the stress of his job and eating and travel and diabetes and gout, and his brother thinks that he had a heart attack. So, man, it just goes to show you ain't here long. But he made good work of his time while he was here. But man, I sure hate to see that, because that 68's a young man, Jamie, especially when you're 64 and you're still feeling like you're 44.
Yeah, no doubt. He again, I mean, anybody, no matter how old they are, it's sad.
Sure.
And 68, you're right. Especially in today's era, it's not that old.
Yeah.
But clearly lived a good life, and
no doubt
leaves quite a legacy of the work that he did.
Yeah. Okay. We get this. This is a fair question, because this thought did go through my mind. This is from 28 minutes ago. This is right after Chalupa told us that we were having a great show 2 minutes into our show. Hi, Chuck. I have to ask, and using commas as well. One, when was the last time you took a spring break? Probably high school. And two, what percentage of your audience at 6:04 do you think is on spring break? Probably a very small percentage. That's a fair question. But people might be getting up and getting after it and getting early this morning to get to work so they can start spring break. Case in point, Jamie. Case in point. I've been doing this show for almost 15 years. And for the first time in the history of ever, the donut shop down the street from me, as I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, it's 6:38 and some change or so. I got time to maybe run. I was thinking about getting some donuts for the crew. And I look over there, and there's 3 cars in line. 3. I mean, one, I would never have the patience to wait for 3. But 2, I've never seen 3 cars in line at 5:38 in the morning. So,
wow.
So maybe those are early spring breakers getting out on the road.
Maybe that's the case. Yeah.
All right. Here is a comment for you, and then here's a question for you. We get this. I think that Tyler Boudreau kid is a heck of a pitcher, and I predict Tech winning 1 out of 3 in Houston, which is still not bad. No, that's bad, isn't it, Jamie? Winning 1 out of 3.
That's not what you're looking for.
No. Then we get this. Baseball has to have sweeps at this point. They could win 2 out of 3 in their first 7 Big 12 series and still have an overall losing record.
What if they're winning their midweeks during that time?
Yeah, right. Because if you are, then you've taken care of, then a little TCB, taking care of business.
I think you're I mean, how do you say, you're probably you're 3-11. If you're demanding sweeps at this point, you're probably setting yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah, because that's unrealistic, right? I mean, by any stretch, even if you're playing the best, even if you were 11-3 at this point, to say, "Oh, we're going to sweep everybody," it's really hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, let's take some. You may be disappointed about it, and that's totally fair. But you haven't played great baseball. You're 3-11. Let's just slow it down a little bit, and let's just try to get some wins and get back on track, okay? Instead of demanding sweeps. I mean, ultimately, you may have to, at some point get to that point. But if you're going into this weekend saying you have to do that, it feels like you're putting a whole lot of pressure on the team.
Yeah, right. And
not that the team's listening to the fans. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying if the team was thinking that way, that would be a little crazy.
Well, and the other thing too is you start putting that kind of pressure on yourself, and you almost get a little paralyzed by the whole thing, by the pressure of doing it.
Again, I don't think the team is putting that kind of pressure on themselves. Just because the fans want it, I don't think the team is putting that pressure on themselves.
We all want a lot. We all want a lot of things. I don't know if I have total time to get into this, but did you see the exchange between DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons, with Lawrence going to the Seattle Seahawks on a deal that's worth $32.5 million?
So I just heard the comments from Lawrence saying that he basically knows that he loved Dallas and it's his home, but he knows they won't win a Super Bowl there.
Right.
So let me guess, what did Micah Parsons say?
He, on X, Jamie, he says, "This what rejection and envy look like. This some clown blank," is what he wrote.
Ah, jeez.
And then of course, DeMarcus Lawrence had to come back and say something to Micah Parsons. He said, "Calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left."
Okay, got a new favorite player.
DeMarcus Lawrence?
DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, Micah Parsons is just just a blabbering idiot.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny at the end.
I know that might be rich for me because I'm a guy that talks on the radio for a living, but I mean, he's just a blabbering idiot.
Yeah. I don't find you a blabbering idiot, Jamie.
Okay. He just a blabbering guy.
Well, I don't even know about blabbering because you've got other people that blabber for you. You make a lot of good use of the words that you use. Okay, that cannot be said of everybody. Present company included.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I have time for this day in sports history. Today is March the 14th, 2025. We are going to miss, unfortunately, the Ides of March, which is tomorrow. Really disappointed by that, but that's okay.
It'll just be aware tomorrow then.
Yeah, just be aware tomorrow. Yeah.
Don't try to rule Rome or anything tomorrow. That's your best advice tomorrow. Okay.
All right. Here's Jeff McGuire with This Day in Sports History on the March the 14th.
1956, 50-year-old baseball pitching star Satchel Paige signs a contract to play for and manage the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro League. 1972, NBA Cincinnati Royals, plagued by poor home attendance, announced that they are moving the franchise to Kansas City.
And Omaha. They played like half the games in Omaha and half the games in Kansas City the first couple of years. They were the Kansas City Omaha Kings.
That's weird.
It was weird. I think some of that had to do with arena availability, and then some of it was just kind of just splitting it up between the two cities. And it's not like they're neighbors. I mean, Omaha's 2 or 3 hours away, about 3 hours away.
In 1987, New York Met Darryl Strawberry charges Red Sox pitcher Al Nippert during spring training exhibition game, causing a benches clearing brawl.
Okay, was it this
training game? That's crazy.
I think this was related to the '86 World Series.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I remember that. There was carryover.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shocking that baseball players have a memory about that sort of thing. 2003, Kasib Powell earns Texas Tech's fourth triple-double in a 92-81 upset victory over number 3 Texas in the Big 12 tournament quarterfinal.
Nice.
And in 2015, 62nd ACC men's basketball tournament took place. Notre Dame beats North Carolina 90-82. It is National Potato Chip Day.
Oh, man. Boy, this is a day to just have a sack of them, right? You just sit down and just sit in your chair and go, well, I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna.
We would be celebrating a huge birthday for Texas Tech football fans. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2017, and that would be Spike Dykes.
Oh, okay.
And this is one of our favorites for a very long time. Todrick Gocher turns 32 today.
Wow.
Wow, he's that old?
He's that old.
Right.
Well, he was around for a while.
Yeah, he was here for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Steph Curry, 37. Simone Biles is 28. Billy Crystal, 77. Michael Caine is 92. Kevin Brown, 60. Bobby Jinks, 44. And Larry Johnson is 56.
Grandmama.
Exactly.
How old is she?
Exactly. And on this day, 1964, Jack Ruby, the Dallas nightclub owner who killed Lee Harvey Oswald, was accused. The accused assassin of President John F. Kennedy is found guilty of the murder with malice of Oswald and sentenced to die in the electric chair.
Yeah.
It was the first courtroom verdict to be televised in U.S. history.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
And then 3 years later, the body of President John F. Kennedy is moved to the spot just a few feet away from the original interment site at Arlington National Cemetery. The slain president had been assassinated more than 3 years earlier on November 22nd in 1963.
And they lit the eternal flame.
Well, he had an eternal flame initially.
Okay.
This was the initial burial site.
Right.
Got so much tourism on it that it basically destroyed it.
Okay.
So they built the new upgraded one that you see today with a better flame that has the automatic sparker on it.
I got you.
Should something go out. And he was moved on this date today.
Okay. Right.
Weren't we supposed to get like a whole bunch of new conspiracy theories by now? With all the documents being released earlier? I'm still waiting.
I am too. I'm still waiting, although you still see a lot of...
I'm starting to think maybe there wasn't a conspiracy at this point, because, bullets do actually travel straight when you look at bullet trajectory.
I'm still convinced that there was more than one person involved in that. All right, here's the...
that is This Day in Sports History.
Thank you, Jeff. Here is the backstory on the Nipper and Strawberry deal. In Game 7 of that 86 World Series, which the Mets would win, Strawberry homers off of Nipper and takes a slow trot around the bases, which apparently aggravated Mr. Nipper. So, therefore, he had to hit him. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know if you probably have seen this story, and I think he was playing for the Cubs. Pete Lecoq was playing for the Cubs. His dad was Peter Marshall, host of Hollywood Squares, the original Hollywood Squares. And Pete Lecoq, in Bob Gibson's last game as a pitcher, homered off of Gibson. And they're playing in some kind of old-timers game in like spring training or somewhere. And Gibson hits Lecoq for that years later.
Okay.
And everybody understood it, just like everybody understood Strawberry getting hit by Nipper. I mean, it was just, that's the way baseball was played, right, Jamie? I mean, that's
not
just...
anymore.
But not anymore. But not anymore. Somebody says this on the Yates Flooring Center chat line, and I haven't checked this out yet, so maybe it's just speculation. Cooper Kupp to the Dallas Cowboys. How would you feel about that?
I would be fine with it. I liked Cooper when he was here, so I hope he does well.
Yeah.
If he's going to get more of an opportunity with the Cowboys than he was with the Chiefs, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. What do you think, Jeff?
I mean, is he better than what you got? Yes. Is he going to get you out of fourth place in the NFC East? No. I mean, I don't know that one player. It's time to hit the reset button.
Yeah.
And adding a player because you think you're one player away when you're like, well, they 22 away.
They do need another receiver.
They do. You've got a draft coming up with a pretty deep receiver class.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's a fair point.
Slow down. Cooper Kupp is a tight end. He's not a receiver.
Well, in this article, they call him wide receiver Cooper Kupp. I mean, he was MVP for the Rams. He was the offensive player.
Man, I am.
Yeah, you're off a little. That's all right.
I'm so confused.
That's okay.
I'm so confused. What's the tech receiver? Who's with the Chiefs or tech tight end?
Yeah, it was Brady Boyd. No. The Baylor Cup is the tech guy, not Cooper. Baylor Cup.
Bad.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Texter.
That's totally on me.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No, that's all right.
To you two, Cooper Kupp. So the Cowboys need a second receiver. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think he'd be a good addition.
And
like Jeff said, better than what they have at that position. But Jeff, to Jeff's point though, Jeff, you can't. I mean, even though you're more than one player away, that doesn't mean you don't keep trying.
Yeah.
You still have to fill the roster.
Yeah, a couple of. Apparently the Ravens also want him. If the Ravens want him and he's looking at, well, where's my opportunity to win another Super Bowl? I'm going to Baltimore.
Yeah, he should go.
Yeah, he picked the Cowboys.
Yeah.
What is he thinking?
Yeah. Is Baylor Cup still with the Chiefs?
I think he is. I'm not sure where he is on the. I think he's still on the roster. At least he was through the end of the season. I'll do a quick look at that. It's 6:55 this morning here on the Morning Drive. We'll talk a little baseball next and continue the basketball as well because obviously it's exciting with March Madness and the Red Raiders in the semifinals of the Big 12 tournament. They'll play tonight. We'll have the game for you at 7:30 tonight here on Double T 97.3 with a tip at 8.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
The good old Morning Drive with Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Thank you for being with us today. Got plenty of sports on the air for you today. We're going to have the Big Ten tournament at 10:45 this morning. And then that will continue at 1:30 this afternoon here on 100.7 The Score, I should say. Also, we'll have Red Raider baseball on the air for you today on 100.7 The Score as they take on the University of Houston. Here was a baseball question for you, Jamie, that I had. It may be a dumb question, but just a thought. Do you think there was any consideration of moving Zane Petty up to pitch on Friday because of how well he's pitched and maybe to change things around a little bit and get your weekend starting off with a good start?
Wouldn't you say that Mac Hewer's Friday start was better than Zane Petty's?
No, maybe. I mean, I didn't just dissect it. I guess it's just maybe he's been better over the course of the season. Maybe not just this past week, but
yeah, I mean both were really good last time out. I don't think you'd move Mac when he was 6 innings of 1 run.
Okay.
I guess they're both 5 innings of 1 run ball.
Okay,
Zane gave up 2, but only 1 was earned.
That's fair.
So they were about the same. I guess my point is that Mac Hewer pitched really well. Why would you move him out of that spot?
Okay, and you felt like, and obviously Tyler Boudreau had a good outing, so I guess that was it.
He was the one that went 6 innings and didn't give up any runs.
Yeah. So I guess that really was a dumb question. Okay, well, no more questions for me for you then on that because, anyway, it was just a thought that I had, and maybe that would have been a better question a week ago. How about that?
Well, I mean, Zane is he was, really good in his first couple of outings as a reliever, and then came in his first start and wasn't very good at all in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, really, this last weekend against Grand Canyon was the first time that he's thrown well as a starter this year. I mean, again, he's only had 2 chances. So, Coach Tadlock talked this week about those guys throwing better, and he feels like the fact that they're 4 or 5 weeks into it now and consistency and all that it's just part of it. That's why you can't take too much away from starting pitchers early on, and that's why you didn't see him move away from Matt Cure, as the Friday guy. And now hopefully he's kind of turned the corner after what we saw last week, and we see him continue to pitch well.
All right, a couple things here from Coach Tadlock, and get your reaction to this as well. The question was, do you think that they played their best baseball last weekend? That was what Coach Tadlock was asked. Here he is.
No, I really don't. I would say you just look at the number of quality at bats, and you look at routine in the ball. We've played better. We haven't handled different environments, different atmospheres, things changing. We're trying to address that. We haven't handled it real good. Didn't handle it in Chapel Hill with the doubleheader. Didn't handle it, again, like just certain things have happened, and so I didn't think we handled it real good at Grand Canyon either. And so, no, I would say, other than a couple guys routine and balls, everybody had, you gotta limit your free passes, and you gotta routine the ball. You gotta turn double plays when you get the opportunity, and you gotta have 9 guys in the lineup, going up there and being tough outs.
Jamie, do you think I bet you that was really hard. I mean, he's always been a straight shooter, but that's probably hard for him as a coach to be able to say, my guys didn't handle the environment. They didn't handle the change in Chapel Hill to go to a doubleheader, and didn't really, just the adversity aspect of it. Because there's a lot of things that you can control, but I kind of feel like that's a mindset more than it is anything else.
Yeah, and it's been a problem all season long that you haven't, when things have started to go wrong, you haven't handled, move on to the next pitch. Mm-hmm. You just haven't. That's been a big problem for this team. I think Coach Tadlock, with all due respect, I think Coach Tadlock answered the question of, do you think you played well at Grand Canyon? Not do you think you played your best baseball? I think they played their best against Grand Canyon. Still doesn't mean it was great baseball. Mm-hmm. Which ultimately speaks to the fact that you haven't played good baseball for 4 weeks. Right. Yeah, but that may have been the least of the bad. Mm-hmm. And he pointed out all the reasons why it wasn't good or great, but it was, the least of the bad that we have seen so far.
Which was not good. Right.
I don't think it was terrible at Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
I thought it was better. You were in all 3 of those games in the 8th inning. You could have won, all 3 of those games. You were in there. You had a shot, and ultimately didn't win any of them. You lose by 1 run, 1 by 2 runs, whatever, and then one you just fall apart on Friday night. But you had a chance to win all 3 of those games. You can't say that about any other weekend this year.
Here's one other thing from Coach Tadlock. He talks about the hard choices for his lineup are from what?
The hard decisions when you're asking somebody with 10 college at-bats to drive that run in with 2 outs. And that's probably the hardest thing. Like I walked down there to talk to Coleman the other day, just kind of, give him make sure he had a clear plan with a guy in scoring position. Because it's probably his 15th college at-bat. And so that's where it's hard. And there's some guys that can do that. You think about it, though. I was thinking about Gabe Hope just the other day. Like, how many guys walk in this type of program and hit leadoff for 2 years and go to Omaha 2 years in a row? Those are called unicorns. You just don't do that. And so there's a process to get them ready, Tyler Nesloni sat over there for a year and worked his butt off. And when he got this chance the next year, hit in the middle of the order on a team that went to Omaha a couple times, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think, again, you just got to I probably tend to want to just stick them in there, and like we did Gabe.
That's Coach Tadlock. Your thoughts on that, Jamie?
Well, here's the issue. I mean, the issue is not with Coleman Ryan, the true freshman who's been asked to at times start at shortstop. The problem is that the people that were supposed to be in front of him are not performing. That's the bigger problem, right? Mm-hmm. When you have a junior in Tracer Lopez, or you have a junior in Antonelli Salvatore that are not performing, then Coach Tadlock's like, okay, we're going to try something different. And you put young guys in situations that you're not dying to put them in. Okay? So it's the other guys have got to step up. Okay? And so it's again, it's hard to blame the freshman. Like he's talked about sitting Neslony for a year where he had time to develop because your other middle infielders are struggling. You're giving Coleman Ryan a chance. Okay, well, he should be getting his chance in a midweek on Tuesday in the 6th inning with us up 6 runs, not in a, when we're in a dogfight with Grand Canyon and we need somebody to drive in a run. So that's, in my opinion, that's the problem. There are a few of your veterans that aren't performing like you expected them to, and that's forcing guys like Coleman Ryan into that position.
All right, we'll have Red Raider Baseball on the air for you today at 6 o'clock on 100.7 The Score. And first pitch at 6:30. That series continues tomorrow night and Sunday afternoon as well. So depending on what's going on with basketball, it will depend on what station we have baseball on, but we'll have it on either Double T 97.3 or 100.7 The Score, and today it's on 100.7 The Score. We'll have Big Ten Tournament basketball for you. The first game that we'll have is Oregon and Michigan State. That'll be on 100.7 The Score at 10:45, and then we'll also carry number 18 Wisconsin against UCLA in a quarter-final match.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, I'm just going to ask you guys it's kind of a prediction question here. When you look at the teams that are remaining in the Big 12 tournament, I want to ask you, who do you think is going to win it?
I got a hunch that BYU is going to win it. I know that would mean that they would beat Houston, which I think is possible. I just feel like that they're a rising star. If they play Tech, I mean, I would pick Tech to beat BYU, but I think that'd be a really exciting game. But I just have a feeling that it's going to be BYU, so I'll stick with the Cougars.
Okay.
I will also stick with the Cougars, but the other one. The one that's got the number 1 next to their ranking. The one that's going to be a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. The one that lost 1 game in Big 12 play this year.
You make so much sense, Jeff.
Yeah, I'll take the low-hanging fruit of the number 1 seed who is still playing.
I think it's funny that we all have different answers here. I'm taking Arizona.
Oh, okay.
So we all have different answers, and none of them were Texas Tech. I think I'm worried about the Red Raiders tonight because of Chance McMillan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think he makes a big difference. And so I think Arizona wins tonight. I think Houston, with the injury to their big man, can you help me with his name, Chuck? I can't remember his name.
Let me get
who played so well against us, the lefty. If he's not able to go, I just don't think they're as good. I think BYU is going to run out of gas tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's Arizona over Houston in the final.
Okay. Arizona over Houston in the final. Oh, okay. Are you thinking of? I'm gonna have to do a little research here, Jamie. I'm sorry. Yeah, 7:34 this morning here on the morning drive. So let's say let's say Chance doesn't go, but you get a fully healthy Darion Williams. Do you feel any better about that?
If Chance isn't able to go?
Yeah. You just don't feel
good. I have a fully healthy Darion Williams?
Yeah, because I don't know that. I mean, because he spent some time out yesterday, but maybe that was just a cramp. It was.
Yeah. Juwan Roberts is the guy I'm talking about.
Okay, Juwan Roberts. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not worried about Darion Williams.
Okay. All right.
I don't think Grant McCaslin is either.
Okay. Juwan Roberts averaged 10.8 points a ball game, 6.3 points a game. And let me tell you what he did against the Red Raiders. Well, you're more worried about him against BYU than you are against the Red Raiders, because the only way those two teams meet is if they meet in the Big 12 championship game. So that's almost a moot point at this point.
I think he's like the heart and soul of their team.
Okay.
Obviously, LJ Cryer is their best player.
Yeah, right. And the question too is how much of a mission is Houston on? Are they on a? Of course, they won last night or yesterday afternoon, but it's probably a pretty big mission for them to be both the Big 12 regular season champion and the postseason champion. I mean, why wouldn't you want? Juwan Roberts against Texas Tech had 16 points and 7 rebounds in 31 minutes of play. But here's the strange thing, though, Jamie. Against Tech, he was 3 of 10 from the field, but 10 of 12 from the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
So that was in the game, the most recent. That was in the game here on the 24th of February. So. That poses a problem. Just kind of off topic just for a second. The more I watch the Big 12 tournament, the more I think I like the court. And I think I like the court more on television than when I first saw it. Being there at court level, it looks a little different than seeing it on TV. But I think I'm not going to love it every time, but then you see those courts that just are the traditional wood-looking courts with the logo in the middle, and you go, you know what? Sometimes we make things more complicated than we should. Just a regular old basketball floor with a logo in the middle, whether it's the school's logo or whatever. It's pretty simple. Sometimes simple is best, Jamie.
I just think this is everybody's preference. I think the Big 12 logo is cool looking.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I think I like the court more than maybe I did initially after I've seen it on TV and kind of gotten used to it a little bit. But then I see some of these other games where it's just a regular old basketball floor with a logo in the middle, and oh, okay, you know what? That's pretty cool too. Just a regular court, not tricked up.
Either is fine.
Either is fine. Okay. Somebody says they hate it. I
think the majority of people hate it.
Of the four, going back to your question, where would you rank these 4 teams? How would you rank them? Would you stay with what the seeding is?
Rank them as far as how I think they're going to do in the tournament, their chances to in the NCAA tournament.
Just in terms of who's the best 4 teams. Is it Houston, Tech, BYU, Arizona, or would you flip BYU and Arizona? Or would you put Arizona as 2 ahead of the Red Raiders?
I would rank them for their chances to go deep in the NCAA tournament. I think I would rank them just like they are now, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, Jeff.
Yeah, that's where they've kind of been most of the season with regards to how they went through Big 12 play. So why avoid that now?
Okay. So the one that would surprise you the most if they won it all would be BYU. I don't think they will. I think they might get to a Sweet 16. But man, it's sure if you could play like you played in the first half for the next 8 games, you'll be hosting a parade down Broadway, Jamie.
If you play like you did in the first half, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Play like you did in the second, you're going to have a first round exit.
You got to do that like 6 times.
I know.
And then both halves.
I know. Dare to dream, right? Dare to dream.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I got to say is at least I made the effort. I mean, to go out there and take a picture at 2:30 this morning. That'd be.
And you shared.
And I shared, right? Yeah, I'm gonna do one more, and we'll see if this one was met with any better, critique than the other one.
How many did you take?
Oh, I don't know, half dozen or so. I take a lot of pictures.
And you kept all of them?
No, I've trashed a couple of them. The ones that didn't come out, but I've trashed a couple. I am in dire need of Android expert to help me put my pictures on something that I can have easy access to, that I feel like I've got them, so that I know that they're there, so that I can delete some of the photos that are on my phone. Because I got a pretty large number on my phone, more than I would care to admit. Well, I don't care. It just doesn't matter. With regard to Chance McMillan, a couple of things people are saying, and Grant McCaslin in his comments to the media after the game, and this is in a story that was published by the Lubbock Avalanche Journal this morning. Here's the direct quote, Jamie, from Coach McCaslin. He said, "I've coached Chance enough to know when I feel like he's confident and when I feel like he can play, because he's always going to say he's going to play. He was like, I'll go out there and play, but I just know the difference. We know the difference in regards to where we're going and what we need to do, and felt like it was best to see if he could feel like he could get feeling better tonight, either way, no matter what happened." So maybe somebody referred to him of being sick.
Somebody on the chat line says the AJ is said upper body strain.
Yes.
Apparently, he was caught on the television broadcast last night pointing at his stomach. On Twitter, he said, "It's my stomach." So something happened in that area. So
hopefully it's not the old oblique, right? Because if he's not feeling good, if he's got stomach flu or something like that, then that's one thing. But if he's got a muscle strain or a problem with a rib or something along those lines, that's another thing. Okay. Somebody with regard to critiquing my photo, looks better than most of the pics I take. Good job, Chuck. Thank you. Big Huey says, just upload to Google Drive or something. I don't trust Google Drive. I don't trust it because it can go away. I do not trust it. I don't trust it. I don't trust Google. I trust it for some things, but I'm not going to then I'm just going to, delete everything and just, it's on Google. It'll be all right.
Do you guys remember the McDonald's commercials back in the day with MJ and Larry Bird, and they were playing pig?
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm going to shoot this one through the roof, off the next building.
Yeah, love those commercials. Yeah.
Nothing but net.
Right.
You guys remember those?
Yeah.
Okay. When I look at your picture, I think it's one of those basketballs, like flying. I can hear MJ telling Larry Legend, okay, here I'm gonna go off of Pluto. It's gonna bounce off Saturn, and then come back down in California, nothing but net. That's kind of what it looks like, a basketball to me, high in the sky.
Oh, I take that as a compliment.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
Okay, I take that as a compliment. There have been times, and this is more than you want to know. There have been times, because I saw somebody do it once, and I want to do that too, when the moon has been we've had one of those full moons, and I go over to the Willie McCool statue, and it looks like the bronze statue of Willie McCool. It looks like he's holding up the moon, and I've gotten some really good pictures of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Again, that's more
cool.
More than you want to know. Somebody saying Chris Level on our broadcast on Double T 97.3 last night mentioned it looked like he was struggling to breathe. Okay.
Maybe he was just in awe and in shock of our three-point shooting like the rest of us were.
Right.
because it was really impressive.
Oh yes, it was. It was really, really impressive. Okay, so your biggest concern tonight is what?
Not having Chance McMillan.
Okay, so let's just say you don't. Let's assume that you're not going to have him. Okay, so who in your mind needs to step up?
Man, it would feel like you need to have big nights from Walton and Anderson to pick up some of his 3-point shooting slack.
Okay. And do you feel like there's an opportunity for Mr. Federico tonight? He had 2 points and 2 rebounds last night in 8 minutes of work.
I mean, some sort of opportunity, but if that's what you're laying you're going to need him against their bigs.
Mm-hmm. But,
I mean, if you're laying your hopes and dreams on him having a big night scoring for you, it feels like I'm going to be unhappy.
Because, I mean,
that's not who he is.
Like, if you're Arizona, you have to think that they're going to go, we're going to try to limit JT Toppin, right? We're going to try to.
I would think that he's one of your better players. Yeah, you got to slow him down.
Hey,
if not your best.
Yeah. Did you know last night? Because I mean, you know that I do this math all the time. But last night you did not have one conventional 2. You had 18 in the paint. You had 15 threes, and then 11 from the free throw line, and all that adds up to 76 points. If I did
what about the? I'm somehow forgetting. They reviewed a 3 that Toppin shot.
Yeah.
And he had a toe on the line.
Yeah, but we had a texter earlier.
Did they make that a 3?
I think they did, Jamie. I think they did. I
couldn't remember what they did.
I think they did. And my math may be off here because when I was doing this last night, it made sense to me. But now that okay, there was one conventional 2. That they did make that a 2. They did make that a 2. But there was a point in time last night where it was like, when I was doing the math in my head, which is a problem, because you had 45 points off of threes, you had 18 in the paint, and then you had 11 free throws that you made last night. That's 74, and you won 76-74. Maybe it was Baylor. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. But you had one conventional 2, and that was it. And he had his toe barely on the line to make it. Otherwise, it would have been 52 points at that point in time, but it was 51. This 3-point shooting was great until it wasn't. Yeah.
Yes, that's very well said.
Yeah. Concerned about the physicality of Arizona. Okay.
Yeah, I felt like they got after us in that second game. They played with a serious chip on their shoulder.
Mm-hmm. We need something out of Ditto. Aren't points in the paint not conventional 2s? Not in my mind. The conventional 2 to me is outside the paint, inside the 3-point line. To me, that's.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with the texter, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
A conventional 2 should still count the points in the paint. There is either 2s or 3s. What makes something conventional?
Okay. In my mind, outside the paint, inside the 3-point line. That to me is a conventional 2.
That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Yeah.
Well, you're new here.
No, I think the term that's been used in basketball is a conventional 3-point play,
mm-hmm.
which means you shot a 2-pointer and got fouled and made the free throw. Mm-hmm. That's a conventional 3-point play.
Yeah.
I don't know that conventional 2 is something.
Well, okay. I may need to find a new phrase then, because I've been using that phrase, last several years. Oh well, I'll effort that.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.